for tonight, Holly Siebold. This evening, we're going to talk to members of the Junior Volunteer League who are in the studio with us. It's an organization that I know very well and appreciate the work that they do, and I can't wait to talk with them and for our listeners to learn about their work. Let's start with each of our guests today who are going to identify themselves, tell us a little bit about who you are and where you go to school and how old you are.
Hi, I'm Addie. I'm 16 years old, and I go to James Madison High School.
Hi, I'm Taylor. I'm 14, and I go to James Madison High School.
I'm Abigail. I'm 15, and I'm a sophomore at Madison High School.
Thank you all so much for being here with us today. I want to start with Addie. Can you tell us a little bit about what is the Junior Volunteer League and what is the purpose and mission that you serve in our community?
So our group, JVL, has been organized to empower young women to be tomorrow's leaders through meaningful philanthropy and stewardship.
And Taylor, can you tell me a little more about what that means? Maybe perhaps some examples of the work that you do in the community?
We have meetings where we come together as a team, girls from our community, and we put together bags of snacks, and we go to shelters, and we support the community around us to make it a better place for everyone.
What can you give me a specific example of a time that you were volunteering with JVL, which is also known as the Junior Volunteer League, but we lovingly say JVL? Can you give me a specific story, maybe perhaps someone that you met who changed your life as a result of the community service you were doing that particular day?
I remember it was probably a couple months ago. I went to one of our shelters, and we were distributing bras, and a woman came in with her young son, and she wanted to go look for bras. So I took her probably 3-year-old, and me and him, we went to go, and we played, and we looked for underwear together because, at the time, he didn't have a lot of that. And so we looked, and it was just a very inspirational moment for me because I got to see how kids like him don't have a lot, and we got to really give him more.
Wow, what an incredible experience. Abigail, can you tell me about a few of the philanthropies that you've been a part of, which organizations that you've worked with because of your involvement with JVL?
Yeah, so I do a lot with Women Giving Back, which is somewhere that women and their kids can go to get clothes, a certain number, and they have to have a social worker to go, but they can get a certain amount of stuff, and they can get it for job interviews, and that's just been really big for me because I can see these people getting clothes to go to interviews, to get work, and see them handling their kids and seeing that they have hope, so I should help them and support them in that, which has been really big for me. And then we do a lot of events, like we do Mardi Gras, and we do the Safe Spot fashion show, just other events like that where people will come, and it's inspiring to see all these people coming together and donating.
Now, how do you find out about the different opportunities?
There's people on the board of JVL who organize it for us, and then the girls have a website where we can go and we can sign up for events that we want to do and we can do.
Do you find yourself going back to the same locations, or do you try new opportunities as much as you can?
Really both. There are a lot of places that I really love going to, so I make an effort to go lots, but new opportunities are always fun, and JVL always has awesome opportunities and service projects for us, so all of them are good, so it's definitely a mix of both.
Great. Back to you, Taylor. It sounds like it's a wonderful community, a wonderful organization, and you are, out in the community, really meeting people who are experiencing homelessness or experiencing domestic violence. But you're also working with a group of other teens, preteens that could be doing anything else in the world, right? Do you feel like some sort of connection? Is there a reason why you decided to join this group as opposed to, I don't know, joining a different club. So yeah, tell me a little bit about the camaraderie amongst the volunteers.
I think the club is, the organization really is made of girls who want to see girls just like us really feel the way we feel. Because when we see girls who miss school and don't like get out into the world and join clubs, it makes us feel kind of sad. And I think that's something we all have in common, that we really care for other people and we want everyone to be created and like treated equally.
What a great role model all of you are to our future generation. Addie, now you've been with JVL the longest of the three of you. And first I have a question about, I know you're a great student as well, so I have a question about how do you balance all of the volunteerism that you do through JVL and your school, because I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, you have to reach 100 hours every year. So that's a huge commitment. And so how are you able to balance both? And you've been doing it for a long time. So can you speak a little more to that?
I think volunteering has always been a really important part of my life, and I just know that although school comes first, volunteering has always been a close second. And whenever my mom like offers me an opportunity, I will usually take it, even if it means I do have schoolwork, just because to me that's more important. And like just being able to help people will always just have a greater effect on my life than anything I do in school. So I think it's really not that hard to balance, because in the moment I'll know which one is more important.
Okay. Now, again, you've been here the longest of the three. So tell us, how many years exactly have you been with JVL?
Since 7th grade.
Since 7th grade, and what grade are you in now?
I'm in 11th grade.
Okay, wow, that's a long time to be balancing both. Can you look back in all of your years and really pick a time that was most meaningful?
I think specifically doing food for others has been the most meaningful for me. It's the most hands-on volunteering I've ever done. It's where you take food and you actually hand it to people that are out on the street and who need it. And I think it's really powerful just to see the faces of the people and just see how much they depend on you and how much they need what you're offering them.
Okay. I just want to take a break real quick for our listeners who are just joining us. You're currently listening to Making Change Radio on Radio Fairfax. I'm Holly Siebold, and my guests today are volunteers and members of the Junior Volunteer League, JVL. Their ages range from 16. Is that how old you are?
Yeah.
Okay. 16 all the way down to 13?
Probably 13. Yeah.
13. And we have three of those members in the studio right now talking about why they belong to JVL and why they're willing to spend so much of their time volunteering in the community, and why it's so important and meaningful to them. So I'm moving on to Taylor. Taylor, who is a student at James Madison High School. And so Taylor, one of the things that make JVL so special, in addition to the work you're doing out in the community, you're also meeting once a month. And during that time, there are speakers, there's socializing. Can you describe what happens during your monthly meetings?
Usually there will be a speaker who will come and, like in past meetings, we have had a person who has taught us yoga, martial arts, how to defend ourselves, because I think that's really important, because, girls have to stick up for ourselves. Mm-hmm. And so we have someone who will really guide us to be even better at what we do and to really make it more powerful for other people around us.
Now, who decides who the speakers are going to be? Is it something that you as a group choose? And anybody could answer this question. Is it something that you all as a group decide? Is it something you decide early in the year and then the moms go and try to make it happen? Can you tell, anybody could join in and jump in and tell us how this happens?
The girls decide, and we all Addie, do you want to add?
I think whenever we decide that we need help on something, like for instance self-defense, I think we all as girls, we all know that we needed to learn how to do that, and we all know that like it's just something that we're gonna have to deal with our whole lives. And I think we knew that we wanted to be empowered, and doing something like self-defense really helped empower each other and empower ourselves to further empower the community.
This is really great to hear because it's you are out in the community. You have to serve a certain amount of hours each year, but you're also practicing self-care as well. You're looking towards yourself and your friends who are part of the group, and making sure that they're safe and prepared for life. And I heard one of y'all mentioning before we got in the studio that really one of the goals of this program is girls empowering girls, which I think is incredible. And so back to Abigail. Let's stick with that theme, girls empowering girls. What does that mean to you?
We girls just really have to stick up for themselves and stick up for each other. And JVL is a great way to meet other girls who live in your community and go to your school, who are there because they want to help people. It's a good way to find role models. Going into high school last year, and seeing these seniors that I know from like volunteering and stuff like that, it was like being starstruck. Because you knew these seniors and you knew them from such a positive place. It was having these great role models and having these girls you can connect with, and you know that it's just a really great community to learn in.
That's a great point. I know transitioning from elementary school to middle school is not easy, and then transitioning from middle school to high school isn't. And it's really interesting that you say that you know, by being part of JVL, you knew students already, and you felt a certain level of comfort because of JVL. Something else that is obviously most likely not the intention when the group was formed, but it's something that just became an extra bonus of being part of JVL. How does one become a member of JVL? And anybody could speak to this, how you became a member, or you could speak to how you recruit new members. Whoever would like to speak to it. And I'm sure you all have different experiences, so if everybody wants to talk about it.
New memberships require an existing member on board or board of director or sponsor. Young women are eligible to participate in Junior Volunteer League from 7th through 12th grade.
And you also are expected to just want to volunteer, and you need to be a good member of the community and just be able to like work together with your peers and want to be there, because that's the most important part. Because if you don't want to help, then you're not going to get anywhere. You really have to have the desire to help other people and be there and just want to participate.
Is there an interview process?
No, there's no interview process.
Okay. I mean, and it doesn't have to be literally an interview. Like, is there some way of making sure that new members understand the expectations of JVL and are willing to commit as much time and love, really, into the work that you all described to us today?
So we're having our beginning seniors, the people who started the league, they're graduating. So a big part of it now is getting new girls in, and we just had our new member tea, where we had girls who are interested in doing it come and hear some of the other girls talk about what we're doing and why we're doing it, and hoping that they want to join. And those people have to be invited from existing members or from one of the people on the board. Mm-hmm. So it's people the people who are already involved think would be good at it and think who would want to do it.
Now, are the new members sixth graders only, or can, let's say, somebody who's in ninth grade?
You have to start in 7th grade.
Good. Okay, that was what I was wondering. So it's something that you start young and you continue throughout high school?
Yes.
That's the goal. Okay. Great. That's all awesome. Just for our viewers, for our listeners who are just coming on to Radio Fairfax, you are listening right now to Making Change Radio on Radio Fairfax. I'm Holly Siebold, and I'm here with my guests who are from the Junior Volunteer League. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys introduce yourself one last time, because we might have listeners who are just joining us, and I'm sure they would like to put a voice with the name.
I'm Addie. I'm 16 years old, and I go to James Madison High School.
I'm Taylor. I'm 14, and I go to James Madison High School.
I'm Abigail. I'm 15, and I also go to James Madison High School.
Great, it's really a pleasure to have you guys here. I know my organization, which is also a nonprofit, has worked with you all for a very long time, and I look at it as more of a partnership, and we are incredibly grateful to have your support. Such an awesome group of girls, so dependable, and just really in this for the right reasons. And I love to see that, especially in this day and age where you hear the news is talking about how girls your age are vaping and doing like really bad things. And to hear such stories about the amazing work that you guys are doing in the community is just so heartwarming. So we're coming to an end as far as this group goes. In the second half of our show, we're going to be speaking with the founders of JVL, the Junior Volunteer League. And before we come to a close, I'd like to go around again and have each of you give us some more, just another story or two, because I love the stories of a time where you were involved with the Junior Volunteer League and something that really inspired you, something that you say that you're like, I will never forget this moment in my life, that you really do, that was really transformative, that really, felt like that this is something that really impacted you in a way that's changed who you are. So I don't, again, that's a hefty question, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but whoever would like to be the first to tackle that would be amazing, and then we'll go down the line. And really, as much detail as you can give us is really understand that moment would be greatly appreciated, especially for our listeners out there who may not volunteer and not really understand how critical and meaningful it can be. So, Addie, like to start?
One of my favorite places to volunteer is the Lamb Center, which is a homeless shelter. And I think the thing that makes it so just like amazing to be is like it's so hands-on, and as soon as you walk in, you just see all these people who just clearly have so much less than you do. And anything that you're doing there, whether it's just like making breakfast or like organizing like the closets and stuff, like anything that you're doing is just so beneficial, and you can just see it on the people's faces because like you're right there with them. Mm-hmm. And it's just so hands-on, and like just being in the same room as these people just like really shows just like the effects that your actions have. And I think it's just really powerful to be able to just like put a face, like just see it, and not just like be just like writing a blank check, like to actually be there.
And I think that's what makes JBL so meaningful. Again, because you all have worked with my organization for a very long time, is that you aren't willing to write that check. It isn't something that is part of your mission. Like, you need to be in the moment. You need to be the center of it. You need to understand the way people are living, and that is something very different from a lot of organizations that will just write the check. And I think it's incredible, the story that you just told. Now, the Lamb Center, just to clarify for our listeners, is a homeless shelter that's in the city of Fairfax. It's a day shelter. And do you feel like, and it sounds like you volunteer there a lot, do you feel like when you go, they remember you? Like, is there, like, have you established almost like a personal connection to this shelter?
I think there are just so many people. People are coming in, like, a lot. Like, people come in and come out, and they, like, they can support themselves after a little bit. So I don't think I specifically remember anybody. Okay. But I think just being in the same building, it's just kind of just, like, memorable for me. And, yeah, and and they know you're there. Right. If they need something. And that's incredible. So thank you for sharing that. That's a special moment. Taylor.
I tend to work a lot with bras. I was just at a distribution day last weekend, and I don't think there has been one specific distribution day that has been really memorable for me, because just giving the women their bras, and through JVL, getting that opportunity to work with bras and to be able to just see their faces of how happy they are, to be able to have something new for their own, is really rewarding to see.
Yeah, Taylor, you volunteer a lot with Bras. About how many hours, and I'm sure you volunteer at other locations too. So about how many hours a month do you spend volunteering?
Probably about 20 hours a
Wow,
month.
that's incredible. And I don't think I asked you, and I asked Addie, I put her on the spot. How do you balance school and volunteering and JVL and all the other great things that you do?
Well, the JVL leaders will send out an email that has all of the upcoming dates of things that need people that volunteers to help. So my mom and I will sit down and look at our calendar to see if there's an open day that I can go, and then I get all my homework done the day before, so then I have a full day to really just have my mind right on that.
And are you involved in sports?
I am on the James Madison field hockey team.
That's incredible. So in pretty much all your spare time, you volunteer through JVL.
Yes.
Or through other organizations. Wow, that's incredible. And I just want to have a shout out to Taylor also, who also raised, how much money did you raise for the organization you volunteered for last year?
Crimson Colitis Foundation.
Yes. Oh, so can you say that again?
I raised $100,000 for a Crimson Colitis Foundation.
Yes, that's what I was. I mean, in between all your work with JVL and sports and school. So, wow, you're an incredible role model. Thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you.
And finally, last but not least, Abigail, can you tell us a little about a moment, an inspirational moment through your work with JVL? And I'd love to hear a little bit about how you're balancing everything as well.
Yeah, so I do a lot of stuff with people who have disabilities or in senior living centers, stuff like that. I really like that because it is going back to the same place as Addie said, but especially in the senior living centers, it's the same people. I play bingo there, which is one of the things that we can do that's always so fun. But it's the same people, and you get to go and lead that. So you do make relationships with those people, and often they don't remember you because they don't really remember that much, especially in assisted living like that. But you remember them, you can kind of attest to their character and see them over time and build your own relationship with them and that organization, which is really special to me.
Wow. How often do you go back to the assisted living center?
Whenever I can. It's one of my two favorite volunteer organizations. Probably that and Women Giving Back are my favorite places to go.
And so about how many hours a month do you spend?
Oh, my goodness. I have no idea. During the season or the session of JVL, we have to get 50 hours for underclassmen and 100 hours for upperclassmen to get a presidential award. So I just kind of try to spread it out over as much time as I can.
I'm glad you brought that up, actually. Is it hard to hit? So 100 is, let's clarify that. So 100 is for 9th through 12th grade?
No, juniors and seniors.
Juniors, seniors. And 50 hours?
Is sophomore and freshman. It's presidential award is high school only award. Before then, you can get a service award, which is 25 hours. But
is that what the middle schoolers do?
Yes.
They do 25 hours. So it's a big jump from
there's a minimum of 15 hours.
Minimum of 15. And that's to get the service award?
Yeah, just to get a recognition, yeah.
Okay. So quickly, I know we're running out of time. I'm just really curious about the different levels of awards. I wasn't aware that there's different titles. So the presidential is a 100. Eddie, have you reached presidential?
So basically, you need 15 hours to stay in JVL.
Okay.
And then for freshmen and sophomores, it's 50 hours for the presidential. And then juniors and seniors, it's 100 for the presidential.
Then we also have a group award, which is 30 hours. Every person in your group does 30 hours, and if one person doesn't do it, nobody in that group gets the award. So it's definitely a companionship working together. But
that's incredible.
I will say that the 50/100/30 hours go really, really quickly.
Well, I was going to say, do most members hit 50 and 100?
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I'm looking at a paper right now, and this is incredible. It says that the total annual service hours completed in 2019 was 1,321 hours. That is a lot of volunteer hours.
That's a lot.
It's really, really incredible. So it sounds like a big portion of your membership is actually hitting that 50 to 100 hours. So you all should be proud that you're part of that.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much. I can't thank you enough. It's late on a school night, so thank you all for being here to talk to us about all your work with the Junior Volunteer League. This is Making Change Radio. I'm here right now with 3 members: Addie from James Madison, Taylor from James Madison, and Abigail also from James Madison. We'll be right back in a few minutes to speak to the founders of the Junior Volunteer League and one of the founding students of the Junior Volunteer League. So again, thank you for listening, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Radio Fairfax. What you want to hear, where you want to hear it.
Hi, I'm Marianne Metz from The Melody Lingers On Radio Fairfax. Join me in exploring and enjoying the Great American Songbook. We bring back the wonderful voices of Rosemary Clooney, Bing Crosby, Ella Fitzgerald, Judy Garland, and Frank Sinatra, just to name a few. And we hear some who are still singing for us today. So come listen as the melody lingers on.
The Melody Lingers On every Wednesday at 11 a.m. only on Radio Fairfax.
Join Mike Delaney Wednesday evenings at 9 for a weekly meeting with the chairman of the board, a true American Idol, Mr. Francis Albert Sinatra. That's Simply Sinatra, Wednesday nights at 9 only on Radio Fairfax.
Tune in to the music that has shaped America's most dynamic art form called jazz. Join me, Robin Clemens, on Jazz at Club Paradise on Saturdays from 12 to 1 Eastern Standard Time. Listen in and hear recordings from the legendary masters of jazz and releases from young players who are taking the music forward. Join me, Robin Clemens, Jazz at Club Paradise on Saturdays from 12 to 1 Eastern Standard Time on Radio Fairfax.
Welcome to Isla Earth. To the world at large, global warming is anything but a game. But if you happen to be on the internet, it can be. That's where you'll find a game called Climate Challenge. Produced by the BBC, it lets you be president of the European nations. Your job as Prez is to pass environmental laws and react to crises caused by climate change, all the while staying popular enough with voters to remain in office. The data driving the game are actual climate change projections from 2006, provided by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, and most of the policies players can work with came from real government policy documents. But the producers of the climate change game want to make sure people know it wasn't meant to accurately predict future events related to global warming. Their goal was to provide players with a fun and challenging way to learn more about the impact of climate change and options governments have for dealing with it. So next time you're online, why not give it a try? With all the insights you'll gain by playing, there's no way you won't be a winner. And the Earth, too. Plug in and play by following discovery links for today's program at islaearth.org. Isla Earth is produced by the Catalina Island Conservancy with support from its Fund for a Sustainable Planet, because Earth is an island.
Keeping the First Amendment alive. We are Radio Fairfax, Fairfax County's public access and internet radio station.
Welcome to Making Change Radio. I'm your host for tonight, Holly Siebold. This evening, we are here talking with members of the Junior Volunteer League. We'll call them JVL tonight. And if you're just joining us, you missed an outstanding conversation with 3 members of the Junior Volunteer League, 3 students, ranging from the age of 13 all the way up to 16. Telling us about their experience with the Junior Volunteer League. The second half of our show tonight, we're going to speak with the founders of the Junior Volunteer League. Really excited to have them here. It's been the Junior Volunteer League has been in operation for 4 years, and from that time, it has expanded its reach. The volunteers have in 2016, it looks like it was about 261 hours that were of service in the community, and just last year, this year actually, 2019, 1,321 hours of service in our community. So that's a big jump in just 4 years, and I'm sure the founding members are very proud of what they've created. So I'm going to turn the microphone over to them and let them introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about who they are and why they started the Junior Volunteer League.
Hi, I'm Megan. I'm 17 years old. I go to James Madison High School, and I am one of the founding girls of JVL. We kind of started this group to have girls in our community empower the other girls in our community and just overall improve the community that we all live in together.
Hi, my name is Suzanne Lee, and I am one of the founding moms of Junior Volunteer League.
Hi, I'm Molly Lip. I'm actually Megan's mom. I'm also one of the founding members of Junior Volunteer League.
Great. I'm so happy to have you in the studio. We as I just mentioned, we just finished speaking to some of the members that are part of your organization. And wow, fantastic. I mean, those are 3 exemplary teenage girls and a much needed breath of fresh air in a society that has much too negative news, especially the way they portray teenagers. So what wonderful examples. And thank you so much for creating this organization and giving those girls the opportunity to really experience work in the community and, empowering themselves really and learning about things that they wouldn't have if JVL didn't exist. So I'd love for you to dive a little more into why you started JVL. Like, what was missing in our community that you felt the need to start your own organization? I mean, it's not easy.
Funny. Well, my sister and I have daughters, and they kept asking us to do some philanthropic activities because our sons were doing it and with us. And so we, Molly and I both decided together that we would like to start something. And we were very fortunate that Molly plays tennis with a dear friend of ours and another founding mom, Jill Fico. And so the 3 of us together met up and started talking. And we realized very, very quickly that we were an awesome team. Jill is incredible and organized, and she's the paper
important.
lady. It is so important when you're doing something like this, especially when you're starting a 501(c) and somebody like me has no idea what I'm doing. Jill just reads things up, knows what to do. She files the papers, gets it all done. And Molly and I seem to have a lot of the ideas, but so does Jill. And it just really fit together like a perfect puzzle piece.
Molly, can you talk a little bit about starting a 501c3 is not an easy thing, and it's great that the 3 of you are on board, you're ready, you're organized, you're like, let's do it. But what were the struggles that you incurred when you wanted to start it? I mean, the idea was there, but there was a lot more ahead.
Well, not only was it that, but it was also trying to figure out the name of the group, which took forever. Then we had to come up with a logo, which fine, you pick the logo, but then you got to pick the colors too. I mean, it was just not. It was constant stuff. The insurance was very difficult to get.
Yeah.
It was tough. I mean, there's a lot of hurdles we had to jump over. Even getting like T-shirts, for example, ordering the T-shirts, that was tough. We'd order one size, they'd come in too tight, and another size, they'd come in way too big. But we got through it and we did it. We did it all as a team. We worked together. It was great. I mean, it all worked out, but it took several hard-working months to really come together.
And why continue to persist? I mean, it does sound like there was a lot of hurdles to try to put together an organization. I'm guessing neither of you have a background in nonprofit work.
No.
And so, this is brand new, but why keep going,
Well, why not? There's so much need in the community. We all enjoyed it. The girls loved it. They do love it, and the moms enjoy it. The moms work with the girls too, which is nice. It was really good. We worked hand in hand. For the Lamb Center, for example, we make a warm breakfast. My daughter and I will get up in the morning and make a warm breakfast and deliver it to the Lamb Center. So they do have a warm, hot breakfast, which is, it's usually pastries and fruit. But we do work side by side. We go picking apples for food for others. We make apple pies, deliver it. So we also, not only do the girls get something out of it, but so do the moms. And that's important. And it really does, you can go in there really cranky in a bad mood. Mm-hmm. You come out smiling and feeling really good.
So when you all were starting this organization, you made a conscious decision to include moms. Like, you could have easily just done the daughters. It could have just been an organization you would supervise, but you actually were intentional about it as far as the parents, the moms need to participate. I think I saw a statistic. No, maybe it's not on there. I saw a statistic somewhere about how many hours the moms had to do with the daughters. That was part of
the
your
moms only
bylaws.
have to do 8 hours with the daughters,
Okay.
but most of the moms do a lot more than that.
Yeah, so tell
with
us
the
more
girls.
why.
Well,
Why
the
do-
insurance. Going back to the insurance.
Okay.
When we started Junior Volunteer League and we bumped into one of our first hurdles was the insurance, because it was so expensive. When we finally found an insurance company that would insure us for a reasonable rate, we needed to guarantee that the girls were going to be safe the best that we could. So we promised in writing to the insurance company that the girls will usually, not always, have a parent there. So we usually require one mother to be there when the girls are volunteering, unless they're at a public school working with like Head Start, because they are in a really safe place. They're in a school. We have our middle school girls walk over to a Head Start program near their middle school. So after school, they can go over and work with the preschoolers in the Head Start program. And something like that, the girls are in a safe environment. So we don't worry about their safety.
I just think it's wonderful because, speaking as a mother myself, I get so caught up in work and the day-to-day carpool driving and grocery shopping. And it's wonderful to see that, even though I know it started because, it's something that you had to do with protocol with the insurance company, it's great to see, though, that you're almost forcing moms and daughters to spend really quality, meaningful time together. And so I want to get back to that in a second. I just want to do a quick break for those listeners who are just joining us. You're listening to Making Change Radio on Radio Fairfax. I'm Holly Siebold, and I'm here with my guests who are from the Junior Volunteer League. I'll let you guys quickly introduce yourself again for those who are just joining us.
I'm Megan. I'm 17, and I go to James Madison High School.
My name is Suzanne, and I am one of the founding mothers of Junior Volunteer League.
I am Molly, and I'm one of the founding members also.
Great. Thank you so much for being here with us today and joining me in this conversation. Megan, so we heard a little bit from the moms about how they were committed to forming this organization and why. Can you describe the role of the daughters? We just had Addie here who was talking earlier, and she's Jill Fico's daughter, who was one of the founding members as well, and as well as you, and Arden, who is Suzanne's daughter, who cannot be here today because she's at boarding school now. But can you tell a little bit about your role when it began and was it exciting, terrifying?
Yeah. So JVL, we do try to get the moms involved, but it really is mostly about the girls and maturing the girls and empowering us as young women that are soon going to be, the big people in the country and, taking roles. And so at the meetings, normally like the moms do get us started and stuff, but we take control. We have the leadership committee, which we do is a group of girls, and you get together and you have to run a meeting. Basically, you have to put a philanthropy thing into a meeting. So, for instance, we will make blankets for the homeless shelters, or we will pack snack bags for kids who can't afford paying for their own meals on the weekends, and decorating cookies for the homeless and stuff like that, really just impacts our community and helps empower our girls. And by having the girls run the meetings, it makes us more mature and prepares us for the future, because at some point in life you do have to take charge, and JVL really prepares us for that.
Wow, what great leadership skills you're learning.
I just want to cut in really quick while Megan is talking. One of the things we really work on with the girls is they do run the meetings. They do almost all of the speaking at the meetings, because they are in a really safe environment and not judgmental environment. And we've had it was like 2 years ago, we had a lovely lady come and teach the girls how to work on public speaking. We want them to stand up confidently and talk about whatever it is that they're discussing at the meetings. And so it is the girls definitely running the meetings and doing all of it. And that's hard for me because I love to talk, to be completely honest. My sister next to me is always telling me to stop.
Yeah.
But it is all about the girls and helping them
These
and
are
guide
such
them.
great life skills that they're learning. I mean, did you imagine that when you started this organization with the intention of really just volunteering and giving back to the community, that all these other wonderful qualities and skills and traits and everything was going to also rise to the surface as a result of the volunteer work?
It's absolutely evolving. It's incredible what we're seeing. And we look forward to seeing the changes each year, because we do change quite a bit at sometimes.
Well, can you tell us more about that? How has it evolved over the years?
Definitely, we had no idea that we were going to be doing leadership roles for the girls. We didn't know when we started that we were going to be doing the presidential awards. We knew we were going to do awards, but we were thinking more like the 25-hour award or the 30-hour award. I don't think I ever expected anyone to accomplish 100 hours in a year. And so it's just things like that, or even to partner up with bras. There's certain organizations that our girls work with that sort of has become their own, and they've developed incredible relationships with the women and the men who have started these other 501(c)(3)s that we help with and we work with. And to watch the relationship with the girls, I know that with Bras, the founder of Bras, which is you,
Thank you
the
for
girls,
shout out.
some of the girls will text you, and I know. And so when I get a text and say, hey, I need some hours to get to my 100 hours, so I went ahead and reached out to Holly.
Yeah,
and I'm looking for that, just so you know. And I think it's awesome, because that's what we want. We
Right.
want them to not just have relationships with us, but to have relationships with these others who have created their own 501(c)(3)s. A lot of
Right.
good role models out there.
And not afraid to ask.
And not afraid to ask.
That's a key quality that we want in our girls, and I'm sure that is something that was an awesome benefit from creating JVL that you weren't expecting, but it's there now. So you mentioned, and Molly, if you want to answer this one, you mentioned that you went from just, a few hours, 25 hours in the first year, to now 100 hours today. How did you make that decision? Because I mean, that's a tall order. It's definitely a big change from 25, and it's probably more work on you as well, because you guys have to keep track of those hours. And I read somewhere as well, you had to apply to actually give a presidential award. So can you tell us a little more about that?
Well, the girls, it wasn't hard to get them to do the hours. They
Okay.
wanted to do the hours. It was hard to find the spots for them to do it. We had to find lots of philanthropies, different projects that they could go in and do it. And it had to be after school hours and weekend hours.
True.
So that was tough. The girls wanted to do it, and they were able to do it. They could do a 5-hour volunteer very easy. It wasn't a problem. It is not a problem doing the 50 and the 100. It really isn't.
Wow, that's incredible that it's not hard. I mean, one of my questions to the girls the first half an hour over and over again, because I remember what it was like to be their age, and these girls are like involved in everything. Sports, they're academically challenged, they're like, there's so much amazing, they're doing so many great things. Like, how in the world do you balance all of that plus 100 hours? And, like the reaction we got the first half an hour was like, it's a breeze. So it's very hard for me and probably listeners out there to understand how you do it all. So you want to talk a little more about that?
Yeah, so I mean, school definitely is a lot, but as Addie said in the first half, volunteering is a close second to school, and we will get more out of our volunteering work, not necessarily than school, but almost as much. And, balancing it can be hard sometimes, but you really have to just realize that you're working on your school, but you're also changing these people's lives. You're helping them have a better life, because we are so blessed to be able to have these lives where we get to go to school and we get to, stay in school because we have the resources to and everything. But some of these people just don't. And, going out and just helping these people have a life, even anything similar to us, it just means the world, because helping others is really just the main goal here.
Wow, that's incredible. It's almost like it's just become who you are.
For sure.
And what a great skill to start learning early on, because you're just going to continue that the rest of your life. There's probably never going to be a time in your life where you're not volunteering.
Yeah.
And I think that's excellent, and such a wonderful thing for your mom and your aunt to pass along to you. So we talked a little bit about the hours evolving, but can we talk about the size of the organization evolving? It's very large now, and curious to see how you manage those changes and what you see for the future. Anybody could jump in.
I can go ahead and jump in really quick.
Sure.
We don't have any more than 10 girls per class. And we did that when we started JVL. It was a very long discussion on how many girls we want to take, because it was so important to make it meaningful. Not just the philanthropy activities, but the whole JVL experience. And we wanted the girls to get to know each other.
And that same part about getting to know each other, the fact that JVL isn't, 100 girls per class. Obviously, if we had that, we could make a even bigger splash than we're already making. But it's so small, and we're such a close-knit group that we've only made a community inside of our community. And we are all friends, and we all support each other, and we all empower each other through the work that we do. And it's a good support system for all of the girls, because one of the girls said beforehand about how, coming from middle school up into high school, it was awesome to be able to know people already, because
I love that.
It's just such a transition in your life that can be so terrifying. And having people that you've bonded with over helping others is just like a bond that you can never get anywhere else. And it really just helps everybody. Even as a sophomore seeing freshmen, Addie and I have gotten so close over everything from JVL to, hanging out at school, and it's just awesome.
Wow, that's fantastic. Just to give an update to our listeners who are joining us, you're listening to Making Change Radio on Radio Fairfax. I'm Holly Siebold, and I'm here with my guests from the Junior Volunteer League. And I'll let you introduce yourselves one more time.
I'm Megan. I'm 17, and I go to James Madison High School.
My name is Suzanne, and I'm one of the founders of Junior Volunteer League.
My name is Molly, and I'm also one of the founders of Junior Volunteer League.
Great. Thank you guys so much for being here today. We were just talking about the growth of your organization over the years, and how meaningful you want to keep it small because you want to keep it meaningful, but there's just been so much interest. I'm looking right now, and it looks like in 2016 you started with 13 girls. It grew to 19, then to 27, and as of was it last year? As of 2019, you have 35. I'm not sure how recent that is. Maybe you have more since these numbers.
We do. I think that was written up last year, where we ended up with 8 more girls or 9 more girls, and then now we just did another informational tea.
Okay.
And we have another 10 girls signing up.
So, where do you see this going? I mean, your daughters are getting older, and they'll be graduating soon.
Yes, Megan will be going to college, and so Molly will be done after this year with Junior Volunteer League, and I have 1 more year, and so does Jill.
So I mean, this is something incredible that you've created, and are you able to walk away? Are you able to, pass the
My
torch?
sister's sitting next to me shaking her head no, because I tend to, A, talk a lot, as we've already discussed, and B, I don't let go of anything, especially something I created. I'm a very intense type A personality. But we are going to let it go, and we have a few new members who are going to take over for us next year.
We'll still see it through.
Okay.
We'll still have our hands in it, but we'll let other moms run it.
Okay, so you're not completely letting it go. You're still going to be.
Suzanne won't let it go.
But you're still going to be. Is there a board? Or you'll still continue as board members?
Yes, and we're slowly adding new moms. Last year we added 2 new members as board members.
Okay.
And then I just invited another mom to join us for our next meeting to discuss her joining the board also.
Okay, so you're making sure that the transition is pretty smooth.
Yes, and then we're looking for the right moms because you have to have the time and dedication, and you have to love what we've started.
That's for sure.
Yes.
I mean, there's definitely a lot to keep track of.
And I do think, though, as much as everybody in JVL would love to stay in it forever, it is important to pass it on so that everybody else can have this experience. And we've fostered it and we can still be a part of it, but to let other people, really dive into it and have the positions that we have, it's important for them because then, they can have the experience and then pass it on to someone else and pass it on to someone else and just help this thing grow exponentially.
Do you see the organization moving to chapters around the county, around the state, around the country? Like, how big do you want this organization to become?
No, we've had people inquire about opening up other chapters, and it's in discussion. We are considering it.
Okay.
Yes.
And would you be...
We would have to be involved at least to get their feet going, in the ground and ready, running.
Because this is your you've created it and you want to make sure that
we want to make sure it's successful.
It's a successful model. What would you say to other moms out there who could be listening in different parts of the area? Because you guys only take students from Thoreau Middle School and James Madison. So someone who's listening who wants to start a similar organization, do you have any advice for them?
You need to pick people to start an organization with who you work well with. I felt that was the most important, is that Jill, myself, and my sister worked really well together, but we were all very good at different things. Not one of us is the same. Like, Jill's so great with the paperwork, and Molly and I had all these ideas, and we were able to execute and pick the philanthropies. Do you have anything to add to that, Molly?
Nope, you hit it right on the nose.
I always do.
And Megan, there's a lot that kids nowadays could be involved with. Why do you recommend that they get involved with an organization like JVL, or if they join JVL, like, why is this something that should be on their radar?
JVL is definitely something that just has shaped my life, and I think will shape everybody else's life who's in JVL and has a future in JVL too, of joining it potentially later, or even being in a group just like it, because it helps you as a young girl feel empowered, feel like you have something to do with your community, feel like you really are a part of what is around you, and create relationships with girls, and even your mom, being with her and volunteering with her, because no matter how much you will fight while volunteering, the car ride after, you'll be dying laughing over something that happened.
And you'll have these memories for a lifetime.
Oh, yeah.
What great, meaningful memories they are.
I would like to add that she really enjoys spending time with her aunt also.
Thank you for reminding us of that. And Suzanne. In our final moments, if there's anything that you all would like to add about JVL, this is your chance. We'd love to hear any final thoughts that you may have.
JVL really, for me, has been about making personal connections, not just with the members and the moms, but also with the people in the community that I would never have, been in contact with before. Like the people that really do need the help, and they just really shape your life and shape your views and stuff. And it's all about the personal connections for me, and it's just been an amazing experience that nothing else could have topped ever.
What an incredible organization you all have created. Any final thoughts from the moms?
Megan, you've done a really great job speaking tonight, and I feel like it's because of me.
Oh, boy.
The whole thing's been amazing to start with our girls and to see it through, and I'm just really proud of our girls and all the philanthropic work they've done and the hours they've put in.
And you've created something that hopefully it will last a lifetime. So thank you both for
Thank you.
Here today. You've been listening to Making Change Radio, and my guests have been members of the Junior Volunteer League. You can contact them on their website, which is www.juniorvolunteerleague.org. If your daughter goes to Thoreau Middle School or Madison High School, they can inquire about becoming a future member. I'm Holly Siebold. Inviting you to listen to Making Change Radio next Thursday at 9 p.m. Thank you.